Welcome back, my students, to another episode of Comic Class. And in today's video, guys, we're looking at Spawn issue number 5. And yeah, if you haven't already, go check out the previous video where we looked at the first storyline in the Spawn series questions. And yeah, without further ado, guys, let's jump right into the story. Let's go. So the issue starts off with this character called Billy Kincaid, I think is his name, or Kincaid, I forgot, but basically his name's Billy. And this guy is actually a child serial killer. And yeah, a pretty bad dude. And basically the story starts off, or this issue starts off, I guess you should say, with Billy basically getting out of his jail. Basically he served a 6-year term. That was supposed to be a 10-year term. And yeah, later on we'll learn exactly why Billy was put in there for so little, despite, killing kids. But I'll get into that whenever it's explained later on in the issue. So yeah, so we get to see basically Billy in his mind, basically reminiscing about all the people he killed, all the children he killed. And Billy's persona is basically that of an ice cream man, basically like a little ploy to try to get children to be with him, and so that he can kill them. And yeah, it's some pretty sick stuff. So basically we get to see that Spawn actually is sleeping in some gutter, and at the same time Wanda is actually putting her daughter to bed. And it's like a little bit of symbolism with the two of them sleeping at the same time, showing that they're, I guess, connected somehow. I thought that was pretty cool that we got to see Cerberus in this little panel with Wanda with her baby, with her daughter. I thought that was pretty cute, and it was really interesting to see a character like Cerberus, a very iconic comic character, make a little cameo basically in a Spawn issue. That was cool. Cerberus actually made his own appearance in a Spawn issue, but I'm not going to be covering that because it's kind of out of continuity, I think. And it's kind of wacky, so I'm not really going to be covering that. But I am going to be covering Cerberus really soon on the channel, so if you're into that series, you have something to look forward to when I start covering that. But yeah, anyway, going back into the story, you see that Billy actually goes back to his job as an ice cream man and basically starts luring kids into his ice cream truck to kill them. And we get this really messed up panel with, him basically chopping off the fingers and basically finger painting, as he says, with these fingers. It's just really some sick stuff. And yeah, so we get to see that Spawn basically is in the gutters with his friends that live in the alleyways, and basically one of them accidentally gets ran over by one of the police cars that are running through the alleyways. And yeah, it's pretty messed up. Now basically this leads us into a rant with one of the alleyway people, basically saying that he's mad about how the cops treat them, and in exchange they let child killers like Kincaid basically free. This is where Spawn basically learns that Kincaid is free, and he gets a flashback, in his mind of he was actually hired by one of his bosses to actually take out Kincaid, or at least I think it was a politician that hired him to kill Kincaid because he had killed his daughter. He basically wanted revenge, so Al Simmons was going to do it for him, but basically his boss at the time told him to lay off of it and let Kincaid go, basically. And I guess he helped Kincaid get a lower sentence or something like that. Basically, all of them are in connection with each other, and this is where Al Simmons kind of started learning that there was a lot of corrupt stuff happening with the government and his branch of government that he was working under. And yeah, so basically, Spawn is not happy, and he's going to pay Billy a visit. So basically, we get to see that Sam and Twitch basically are staking out this area where Billy is at, because they don't believe, at least Sam doesn't believe, that Billy has gone clean. And how right is he, by what we've already seen. But this shows us that Spawn actually goes past their car, their police car, and basically heads to Billy. Now Billy basically is surprised to see this monster-like entity, come into his, hideout. And yeah, so basically we get to see that Sam and Twitch notice Spawn basically go into Billy's apartment / hideout thingy, and they go in there basically trying to find out what Spawn's doing there with Billy. and they find all the evidence of the kids basically that Billy basically killed, and the fingerprints and just all his sick, stuff that he was doing. And eventually they head back to the police headquarters to tell their chief, that way that they don't kind of like overstep their boundaries. And this is where the issue ends, with us being shown Billy Kindred basically kind of like stripped and killed by Spawn. And we get this really cool like little saying on his chest saying boys scream and girls scream, so I made him scream and scream and scream. Really showing that Spawn has a sense of humor, I guess. He also put some popsicle sticks in Billy's mouth, which is kind of like ironic because he poses as Ice Cream Man. And yeah, basically that's the end of the issue, showing Sam Burke and Twitch Williams basically finding Billy, dead. And Billy will come back, which surprised me as I've been reading the issues of Spawn, that I was surprised they actually brought this character back, but we'll talk about that when we get to that issue, or those issues, I guess I should say. And yeah, and that's it for Spawn issue number 5. Now, this is a really quick video because it doesn't really have a lot. It basically just introduces us to this character Billy, the horrendous things that he's done to children, and him basically getting, his death, Spawn serving out justice to this person. Now, one thing I will say without spoiling too much is that you have to remember Spawn's point of being on Earth is to send people to hell to build up Malbush's army. So I'm not going to spoil too much, but yeah, we're definitely going to see Billy again in the next coming issues. But that's going to be it for Spawn issue 5. Very good issue. Not as good as the long stories, of course, but I'm not expecting that from one issue one-off. This was mainly just to introduce us to the character of Billy and show us how horrendous he is, and basically show us what Spawn will do when he feels justice needs to be served. And overall, it's a good issue. Like I said, go check it out. Link in the description down below. Check it out on Comixology. And yeah, until the next video, guys, I will be covering the Payback story arc, which is a part 1 and part 2, issues 6 and 7 of Spawn, which will introduce us to our first Spawn villain that isn't Violator, which is Overkill. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Until next time, guys, God bless you, and until the next lesson, keep on reading.
I am who I'm meant to be. I am who I'm meant to be. Over and out again. My future needed clarity.